Hi, Mahdi. It's the 4th of September. I just spoke to someone who has relatives in Sirte. I don't know if you saw that report. I just did it this morning.
I'm sorry, I can't say that I've seen anything
No
like
worries.
this morning.
What can you bring us up to date on what you're doing or what you've heard about, what your last interview was about?
Well, I spoke to a Libyan friend, and he said if there's fighting in Sirte, it'll be a bloodbath. They're not going to back down in Sirte. You know, people there will not back down, and that it's going to be catastrophic if there's fighting there. And we were speaking about the defections. I was telling him what I knew about the defections, and he was telling me what he knew about the defections. And I was correct when I told people that the Prime Minister arranged the defections. Well, he was one of the people who arranged for the defections. Prime Minister Baghdadi, the Prime Minister of the Libyan Arab Jamhuriya, was directly involved in negotiations behind Muammar Gaddafi's back for causing defections in the country. You know, he's speaking to many people, including Nicolas Sarkozy, the president of France, and the Obama administration, and he arranged for the defections. And then he went to neighboring Tunisia, west of Libya. So we spoke about the defections and the concerns for the future of that country, you know, its citizens, regardless of their political views or their ideology or their region, regardless if they live in Fezzan or Tripolitania or Cyrenaica, you know, or their city, Benghazi, Tripoli, Misrata. They're all Libyans, you know, and it's their country that's being demolished, and it's their culture that is going to be destroyed. You know, this war is going to see the economic, political, and cultural reconfiguration of that country.
That's the intention, to destroy it.
That's what, to change it, to destroy it, whatever. You have to destroy something before you build something new. You know, build something new out of the ashes. You know, during each war, you know what people get traumatized. It's called shell shock. Okay, psychologists see that during periods of shell shock, the psyche of a person, their persona, is very malleable. You can redefine them. This is the exact same thing for a country and its society. You can redefine it, and you can change. Like, for example, I know that you're very big on the traditional cultures that NATO is trying to wipe out, that we've spoken about. Well, this is exactly what they're going to do. They're going to redefine those cultures, turn them into commercial consumer cultures that can be controlled, societies that can be controlled,
and break up the families.
Yeah, you'll break up the family. You redefine the family. Families won't be the same, of course. Everybody will be estranged from everybody. There'll be a society of estranged
exactly what they're up to. Exactly what they're up to. You know, it's strange. You mentioned shell shock, and what I've learned this morning is in Sirte, what they're actually doing at this time is dropping sound bombs over it continuously. The bombs don't even hit the ground. They're just to shell shock the population. That's the intention.
It's part of the psychological war. They did that in Tripoli and the district of Tripoli as well.
You were there then?
I know about this. I know about the sound bombs. Yes, I've seen the bombings. I've watched the bombings. I've seen the different types of bombs they have. I've taken footage of the bombings, and I have photographs of the bombings, eyewitness photographs. I've been an eyewitness to the bombs they use, and I strongly believe they use bunker busters, especially around the airport in Tajura during July.
The thing is, he had so many people betraying him, Gaddafi. You mentioned the Prime Minister, apparently the Foreign Minister as well, and who knows how many others. I mean, NATO must have known where weapons depots were and where the military was based.
Well, look, I'd like to say that Libya is not the most centralized state. Authority is not streamlined there. It has its pros and its cons. I think ideologically Gaddafi was a political anarchist. I think he wanted to eliminate the state, go towards a traditional way of living. This was one of his goals, and this is what turned a lot of those people against, including Mahmoud Jibril. he wanted to eliminate the state. And I'm not saying this in a negative way. I'm saying that he wanted this human state, you know, where everybody has a say, and it was reverting. You know, it was a very interesting thing if it went through. Now, I'm not saying that he put it into practice. Okay,
he got close. It was not a representative democracy like we have. It had people's committees.
Okay, yes, but he wanted to go even further than this. Okay, and he wanted to redistribute the wealth in the country. He wanted to do all that. He wanted everything spread out. This is theory, right? I'm not saying like this is his theory. It's not all. It didn't all go into practice. Okay, I can have a great theory, and I might be a little dodgy on certain points, but this was what essentially his theory, and essentially there was a move towards this, and this is what he was talking about. This turned a lot of people against him. You know, they didn't want to see the wealth redistributed. If you look at the majority of the financial class and the wealthy people in Libya, you're going to see that a lot of them support the transitional council. Okay,
I hear this over and over.
Well,
it was the wealthy people that were betraying him.
Yeah, of course. Look, who do you think is fighting on the ground? It's mostly poor or people deeply tied to the regime who have no other option. They're fighting for their lives, right? Their world's about to collapse. Those were the people fighting. Like, you know, on both sides, actually, the poor fight. It's always them who are the victims, you know, while the upper echelons, their kids are outside in Western Europe, in the United States, in Canada, or in Turkey, living lavish lives, not worrying. Their only worry is if their families continue to have wealth and prestige and power, right? And I know that firsthand basis. Okay.
Well, I spoke to someone in Tripoli during the conflict, and he said to me, he said, all the rich have gone. I mean, maybe he was just referring to the people he knew, but it seems a part of war.
Yeah, and the poor are left to fight, and they're the ones who fight, and they're the ones who have very little to lose. They're the ones who are usually fearless as well. Okay? But they're definitely going to try to redefine the culture there. There's no question about it. This is what they always do. They want that cookie cutter model. These wars are about destroying any alternatives in the world. You know, there is no options.
And they're going to go farther. I keep saying, and many others are, you know, who next? I mean, they're going to go across the Algerian border into Syria. It's a never-ending question. But they want to destroy the culture in all these Arab Islamic countries.
See, this is where I want to emphasize it. I think it's far more than just these countries. Like I said, this is a human issue. They will go after other parts of the world. You know, they will go. Look, there's already a lot of problems in Latin America. There's a lot of problems in Latin America too. And who is behind the problems in Latin America? Ruining the indigenous people's lives. Yeah, they believe me, Venezuela is on the chopping board too. And Bolivia, they've tried to divide Bolivia. The last couple of years, it's been a project to divide Libya, and U.S. aid's been a part of it. They've been trying to balkanize that country. They've been trying to ruin the indigenous people's lives in South America as well.
But they are nevertheless bombing six Muslim countries for quite a few years.
Yes. Before that, they were bombing Europe, like countries in the Balkans, you know.
Yes.
On the margins of Europe, you know. And they've always been demonizing the Russians, and they've always been trying to push their ideology on Russia. And they try to demonize it as a non-European country, and all sorts of terror.
Russia is really playing ball in the international arena. I mean, it's not the bolshy state that it once was. I mean, it acquiesces to the U.S., to NATO.